episodes of the Urban Homesteading channel. If this is the first time visiting our channel, we want to extend to you a very warm welcome. If you've been here before, thank you for coming back. Welcome back. If today is your birthday, we want to wish you a very happy birthday. So here we are. This is the opening between our kitchen and our living room. And since we bought the house, we wanted to do something with this place. And initially we thought about putting what they call saloons type of doors. But the biggest need we have is for our little creatures, which I don't know where they are now.
They're outside.
Oh, they're outside. So we need some way to separate the living room from the kitchen, specifically when we do something in the kitchen and they want to be, in our feet. Yeah. So what we're going to attempt to build today is some form of barrier, a gate. This could of course be adapted for a child gate, right? With maybe a little more secure safety, because we only want to prevent the dogs from coming in. But in your case, it can easily be adapted if you have young children,
Right.
etc. Today we're going to address a need we have in the house, and that is to separate our animals, as cute and adorable as they are. Sometimes their need to be next to us interferes with doing daily tasks, especially when we're in the kitchen, right? So we need to create a good looking and yet functional separation between our kitchen and our living room. So stick around, we're going to talk about everything we plan to do and show you exactly how we do it. We're going to build this nice, what we're going to call it, gate.
Yeah, it's a dog gate.
That creates a separation between our living room and our dining room, because our living room and our dining room, our living room and our kitchen, because when Mrs. Wizard likes to do things in the kitchen, our dog loves to help. Right? Is that the correct approach?
That one.
Now, you can finish it different ways. We finished it to match our wall. If you remember, we saw that in the channel. We created a wall that has really lasted very nicely. We've had nothing to do to it, right?
Yep.
Since we built it. And it ties everything together. We are very happy with this outcome.
Yep.
So the material for this project can be varied. You can use pine. We're going to use cedar for two reasons. We like how it looks, and we have it. Those are good reasons, right?
And it's fairly lightweight for this heavy product.
Right. You don't want to build that from very dense wood, because even though it's going to be fairly lightweight design, it's still going to be rather heavy when you're done. And we decided to do it in 3 panels because in our specific applications, that works the best.
So the way we're going to design it is to be, accordion style folded. But if you were going to make a freestanding one, you might want to make it out of a heavier material so that it would stand upright and not blow over when you walk by.
Yeah. Okay, we'll talk about it. The cedar planks look absolutely amazing when plain, as you can see here, and they look so nice that I plan to use them for many projects to come. Okay, so we're going to now rip our pieces to the desired width,
Just like that.
just like that.
Okay.
These are 5, so 3 1/4 is what we decided.
These are 5 1/2, so we're doing 2 3/4.
Yep.
2 3/4, 2 3/4, 3 2/4, whatever. So our Evolution is the only saw that we have right now with the metal cutting blade, and we needed to cut this, and as you can see, it does a very, very good job, right?
It's a very nice clean cut.
And we need to take a couple of more cuts, and we are going to have this taken care of.
Okay.
All right. So we have our 3 metal panels. We cut them with our Evolution saw, and the reason we're using these is twofold, threefold. We like it, we had it, and it is much lighter than wood, so it serves 3 purposes, right? I don't know which one of the purposes is the most important, but you could use wood panels, however, right? We just chose to use this.
Yeah. And since you've already got an element using this in your house, it would kind of tie things in a little bit, right?
It gave us a nice opportunity to use our leftovers from that previous project as well,
Correct.
without buying new material.
Yep.
Okay. So we're at the saw with the sides. We're just going to square off the ends to make sure they are square before we make our cuts. And then as you can see, we've set the stop over there to make sure that we're making consistent cuts.
Okay, give it. So
So we're making 2 of these cuts out of each of these boards, and then we're going to do a 3rd board for our 3rd panel, and then we'll come back and cut the other pieces after we set a new stop out of the remaining.
now we've used straps to make our stop block, so we don't make one every time, right?
Right.
So we have marked our pieces, as you can see here too. And now we are going to cut biscuit pockets, and we're going to get biscuits to align this joint. Yes. Well, we wanted to try and be as middle of the board as we could. We didn't have exactly anything that fit that need, but we use a little
Something to raise it
particle board. Well, it is important that it is the same thickness. That's why we use particle
Right.
board.
Right.
Or if you have a sheet of metal or something, it has to be uniform and non-compressible.
Consistent, right.
Okay?
And so that's just enough to raise it where we want it to be.
Ready?
And then the final piece comes down here and also aligns with these marks.
So while our first panel is drying, Mrs. Wizard and Elpida are working on the biscuit joints of our second panel. And for us, because we have a small shop, this is probably the most challenging part, because we're running out of surfaces to assemble things, right? Really, an assembly table would be wonderful, wouldn't it, ladies?
You're gonna have
Got
like
it.
a magic assembly table.
No, I'll just build.
Hides itself. Oh, that hides itself when we don't need it.
I will build an extension to the shop.
Okay.
All right, lift.
And again, recently we were bad on the camp of not putting glue in I forgot. what we call it, the edge, end grain.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, I remember it. And we are putting glue everywhere, as you can see.
Mm-hmm.
It is one of our myths that we have busted, right?
Right.
It is actually a good practice to put glue in every two surfaces that will touch each other. What's the worst that can happen, right?
It just comes out. Right?
Yep. And the gluing process, of course, is always fun, but it's not as much fun as waiting for glue to dry, right? Waiting for glue to dry is more fun.
Favorite waiting, right?
I love waiting. Not. So we're using the full arsenal of clamps, as you can see here. And it is a project that definitely needs a lot of clamps. Right now, we're just going to wait for the glue to dry. And we're going to move next to the next step.
The next step.
We'll move on to the next step. How about that? So we're using tack nails to attach our screen to our frame here. And we'll start with a few, and then we didn't find the color we wanted at the store, right?
Right.
But that will work. And you don't need a lot here, you just need to, maybe on the long side, let's put 3.
Mm-hmm.
We have attached all the screens, is that what they're called?
Yeah.
To our panels, and now we're going to join each panel to another panel with some small, what do you call
Hinges.
those? Hinges, them things. Now it is important when you put the hinges that they are straight, otherwise you will not allow it to close correctly.
Right. And I'm going to turn this around here a little bit
Why?
because there's some cracks here, and I want to put it on a strong piece.
You want me to hold it? I think that's a ratcheted one, so make sure it actually rotates the correct direction.
So we're placing the hinges, ensuring that there's a 1 inch, they're up 1 inch from the bottom piece.
Not from the bottom, just the connection.
Okay, from the connection. So this would be considered the connection, and we're gonna do 1 inch up from there. The first set of hinges have already been installed. They're on the back side, and now because we want this to accordion, we're installing these on the other side.
Don't go too deep. Please don't go too deep.
We are using that hole punch thing just to mark the screw placement.
So here it is, and it can be freestanding like this, depending on your opening, right, and how big you make it. But then it folds on itself, and it really takes very little space to store it, right? And from here you can do a lot of embellishment and changes if you so desire. But in essence, the majority of the build is done. This can give me some other ideas. For example, you could make a lamp out of it, you know. You can change the dimensions. And you can even make a bigger and a door using the same screen. So here it is in our opening, and as you can see, it can be used the way it is, especially for our purpose, right, to maintain the animals. But we think we are going to actually install it on our wall, so it can actually be put away, right? And stay here, right? Is that what we want?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. But definitely, if you didn't want to do that, it can stay here and serve the function. Right?
Mm-hmm.
It will stop a cat or a dog or whatever.
Yep.
So here we are, it is attached to our wall and operates the way we envisioned it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And now we have one last thing, and that is to attach it with a magnet here so you can open and close without difficulty, right?
Right.
But you can see the operation is nice and smooth.
And it lays flush against this area, so it will stay out of the way if it's needed to.
Again, I think you can use it as a standalone if you want it.
But again, as we discussed earlier, if you're gonna do a standalone, you might want to use a heavier wood or more substantial pieces of wood to do that.
I don't know. I don't think that's necessary. I mean, if you wanted to make it beefier, if you have an animal that can...
Yeah, and it just makes it a little more stable, I think, with the weight.
Our animals really don't try to go through things, so... I think even that will stop them, actually. I don't think they will care. What do you think?
Maybe. I still think it turned out very, very well. It's really beautiful.
Yeah, overall, I think it worked out as we were expecting. Here we are. Mrs. Wizard locked me out of the kitchen. But this is our finished gate. And if you see here, we put a small magnet, a cabinet magnet in essence. And this is something we might improve, but for right now it works, right?
Yep.
And as you can see, provides enough. When I bump it, it doesn't open, right? But then if I use a little bit of force, and it goes away.
Yeah. Folds up nicely, and it opens even accordioned like it is. You can open it away so you can get, no, close it.
I don't know what you mean.
Close it. This is what I'm talking about. So even accordioned, we can move it away till we can get to the cabinets.
Right.
That's what I mean.
So this is a great solution, I think, for a small space, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it does look the way we envision it. And overall, I think we're pretty happy with the outcome. What do you think, Mrs. Wizard?
Yeah, I like it. I think it's just enough to deter the dogs from coming into the kitchen, which was the goal.
Right.
But it's decorative. I think it's very lightweight, so it's not really, putting a lot of pressure on the wall or anything.
And this is actually stronger than I anticipated.
It was easy to use scraps and things that we had around. So there wasn't any, well, we had to buy the hinges, and that was it, right?
Right.
The hinges?
Yep.
And the magnet.
Yeah, they can. Those were all, still didn't cost us but $5 or $6 for those things.
Right.
Nothing expensive here. So friends, this is our finished product. And as you can see, it is exactly the way we envision it. It provides the separation we want. Our animals are not very obnoxious. They're not going to barge through it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you have animals that they are really wanting to go through barge through things, you have to build something a little stronger than this.
Right.
Or if you want this to be a child gate.
Yeah, you'd have to definitely reinforce it.
It also provides a nice separation, I think, between the kitchen and the living room. And also, idea-wise, you could make this bigger.
Right.
And make a nice separation between the two.
You could definitely, with this idea of the accordion folding, you could make them taller, like you said, and it could be more like a screen to separate the kitchen from the dining area.
Or even, again, make them taller and make, what you call Japanese-style walls, the screen walls. What they're called, Japanese
Screens. Mm-hmm.
Shoji screen.
So there are many options that you can adapt what we saw you today and build for your house, right?
Right, and I like this version because with the mesh that we used, it's easy for the dogs to see us through the screen, even if we had a smaller dog.
Yep. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did, we'd appreciate a thumbs up. If you didn't, hit the other button twice. Share, like, subscribe. Let us know what else you might want to watch in future episodes of the Urban Homesteading channel. From Dr. Wizard, Mrs. Wizard, and Elpida, take care, friends.